In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can go into any dinner and absolutely crush it. What I'm going to teach you in this video is a really simple framework that you can follow to actually just be that interesting person, be the most interesting person at dinner. I'm Piero Ladher and I teach communication, how to talk with people, feel confident, and really connect on an instant basis. My first ever mastermind was hosted alongside William Brown. If you don't know the info space, that's a big deal. And I did that purely through my ability to network, to communicate, and leveraging what I'm about to teach you in this video. So when it comes to the secret sauce, when it comes to walking into a room and actually really owning it, I'm going to start this with a little story, which actually happened last night. So I went to a dinner with some friends and some business partners. And I was at this dinner and I was sat there. It was in this really quaint little restaurant in central London, softly lit, something out of a movie. It really felt very, very picturesque with that kind of top quality Michelin star type of food. And I'm sat there and everyone's around me and I was not the host. What was so funny is that when the waitress came over to the table, she asked me directly if I was the host. It made something click in my head. I thought, why is it that this random lady thought I was the host? Because I wasn't sat bang in the middle. But it's because everyone had their eyes at me. I was telling the stories. I was owning the frame, which is my first point. If you don't know what frame control is, I'm going to start with a simple definition. It's simply who has the most dominant reality. I'm sure you will have experienced that moment. Maybe you go to a birthday party with a friend and the host has the most dominant reality. They own the frame of the dinner party. To own the frame, you need to not qualify yourself. So what do I mean by that? Often you go to dinners and people are like, oh, what is it that you do? And simply, people answer straight up. Now, that might sound like a very normal thing to do, but if you're actually someone that has a good understanding of frame control, instead of just saying, oh, I do this, and kind of buying into their frame, you have a bit of fun. And in doing so, you're going to start to reclaim the frame. So how it can look is, hey, what is it that you do for work? And I can respond with, oh, I just work at McDonald's. I just like to have fun. Or I take care of my people. But if you then couple that with a different question, you switch who owns the frames. So for example, let's say I'm at a dinner. Hey, what is it that you do? Someone asks me. I go, oh, I'm not actually here to talk about work. I just like having fun. I actually was just motorbiking last weekend. What's your most recent crazy adventure? Or you traveled anywhere recently? I flipped that on its head, and I've ended up being the one that asks the question, which sounds really weird. And it maybe you're thinking, oh, why can't you just answer the question? You can answer the question, but my point is you want to have fun with it. Now, why does this work? Now, this is a really silly drawing, but it works because if you imagine this is you, right? People will see you either above them, equal to them, or below them. When you start owning the frame, what you start to end up doing is you start to become up here, which is very, very powerful because you start to be seen as the leader. So the first thing is actually starting to understand frame control, starting to flip the conversation. Now, if you actually want to do a live role play and actually practice this on a call with me, super happy to do so. Just use the link below and book a call with me. The second point is when you're at a dinner, you need to have a lot of fun. A lot of people at dinners can be very, very serious, which is not a very attractive quality. And it comes from a place of scarcity. What I want you to do at the next dinner that you go to is just laugh as much as you can. Before going, get yourself into a good mood by watching some type of comedy or just some film or something that you really enjoy. Listen to your most favorite music. But what I want you to do is just get into a really good state, because that state, that laughing, is something that transfers across and people genuinely pick up on people's vibe. I want you to work on your own vibe by being more present to the moment, meditation, sauna, running, exercise, eating healthy, eating greens, getting some sunshine, some vitamin D, getting some fresh air. These are all very simple ways that you can just work on your presence and work on your vibe and getting into that state where you can just have fun in an easy fashion. But on top of this, a helpful mindset framework that I like to have is just that ultimately everyone just wants to have fun at this dinner. No one wants to be all serious and think, oh my God, like, what is it you do for work? The weather, it's so rainy, and blah, 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 blah. What we want is we want you to be at a dinner table and to just have fun. And people are going to start inviting you back again and again and again. Now, my final point I'll actually tell with the story. I was at a dinner a few weeks ago in Notting Hill. Now, this was again a restaurant. It was a Greek restaurant this time, so the smell of strong Greek food penetrating my nostrils. Dimly lit, really intimate, nice restaurant. But I was there with these two founders. These founders were sat next to me, and they're big guys, really strong, muscular guys, hitting the gym all the time. And you can imagine the feeling that went through my head because I was telling a story. And as I was telling the story, these two founders started to lead into me more and more and more. And I started to think, oh my God, are they going to kiss me? I don't want that. But it wasn't like that at all. Really, they were leaning in because they were just so interested in the story that I was telling. They were just really focused, really dialed in, and just attentive. And so if you can develop your storytelling ability, that's going to be something that you can really add to a dinner table. And you will have if you have the confidence that you can tell a good story, you're going to know that any dinner that you go to, you're going to be entertaining. If you think since the dawn of time, everyone used to be huddled around fires, listening to each other's stories with the flickering flames in the background illuminating them. We want to bring that back, and I want you to understand how to tell a better story. Super high level, how to start doing it is to just hit the senses. You will have seen, even in this example I gave, I spoke about smell, I spoke about sight, I spoke about how I felt, the feeling of it. And just by touching on those things, you're going to really start to paint a very vivid picture into people's minds, which is going to make you more entertaining at dinner. If you found this helpful, use my Calendly link below. We can hop on a call. And like I said, I'm really happy to role play any of these things for you.